Hello maths fans, welcome to a very special edition of Maths Speed Dating, where I am joined by TV superstar Rachel Riley, who is here as an ambassador for National Numeracy Day.
I am indeed, I'm an ambassador for National Numeracy. I've been with them since the very start. They are a brilliant charity who work with adult numeracy and now child numeracy. For anyone who isn't that number confident, confidence is a big part of their ethos of building it. So you can go online, you can do the National Numeracy Challenge to see where your weaknesses are and where you can improve. It's all free and it's all brilliant.
Yes, seconded. As a fellow, less famous ambassador for National Numeracy Day. So this year it's May the 17th.
There you go.
There we go. Which will hopefully be when this video comes out.
Perfect.
There or
Well,
thereabouts.
it's today. It's today.
Yeah.
Happy National Numeracy Day, everybody.
I better tell you what you've gotten yourself into. For Rachel's benefit and for those of you who may be joining or watching Maths Speed Dating for the first time, I'm going to claim the rules are quite straightforward.
Yeah.
We're going to roll this unbiased square cubic die. Depending on the number you get, we are going to, and you are going to draw the question, so there is, you can't accuse me of,
No expense
cheating.
spared on this.
Yes, these are all jam jars.
And you're the props department as well. You're just like multitasking.
The whole
aren't you, in
thing,
the
yes.
production. It's amazing.
It's just not quite as glamorous, maybe.
Oh, this is about our budget on Countdown. I'm impressed. It's all spelt properly, so all capital. Yeah, wonderful.
So if you get a 1, you're going to have questions from Oxford from your time there. So Rachel also studied at Oxford, like myself. Just before me, she left just as I arrived.
Yeah. Oh, he's a baby.
Then if you get a 2 or a 3, we will have maths questions. So these are focused around...
I'm not actually going to have to do maths.
No.
No, cool.
These are focused around learning maths and numeracy and kind of on topic for the point of why we're doing this.
Perfect. See where you did it.
4 to 5, general. So this is where the speed dating aspect comes in, because these questions have been taken from speed dating websites.
Perfect.
So I would like to say at this point, I am not responsible for the questions that you may pull out of that jar.
Not sure that's going to fly.
And 6 is fun. In quotation marks, exactly. So these are what I've deemed the more fun questions from the speed dating websites.
Okay, something I wouldn't have been asked in my Oxford interviews.
Quite possibly, yes. Yeah. So, does that all make sense?
Yes, it does.
Right, well, whenever you're ready, please roll the die.
Here we go. 2!
And we have a 2. Okay, straight in on the maths. So your first question. Why do you enjoy maths?
It probably changed over the years, but when I was a kid, I was lucky in that I just got it. As soon as they showed me a new thing, it wasn't that I couldn't do it before, I just didn't know it existed. And as soon as I knew it was there, I got it. And you get an inordinate amount of praise for being good at maths.
Yep.
So for me as a kid, and I can see now as an adult why the counter of that is really negative for people who are told they're bad at maths. So I don't endorse this or anything. For me personally, I like praise.
Yes. We all do.
And it was a positive cycle of, you get praise and you do more of it, you get better. And I like the mental workout, and I like that you could just go in. I remember before my maths GCSE, I think it was the World Cup rather than Euros anyway. Right. And I was listening on my little portable radio to the World Cup game just before the maths exam, and all my friends were revising, and I was just like, what are you revising? I just like that you can go in and you can just work things out. If you understand what's going on and where these concepts come from, then all you need is your head and a pencil. And the more maths I did as I got older and went to Oxford, the more challenging it gets. So the more satisfaction you get after you really think about something, and it might be really hard at first, but then you get it, and it's like, yes.
There's like nothing beats that feeling, right, of trying to struggle through a problem. When you're at university, it might be several hours, but...
Or days or months. There's some stuff that I started 15, 17, 18 years ago, still wouldn't do now. But those problems that you finally do grasp, it's just that eureka. And I still get that buzz on Countdown when I do an little arithmetic game.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Awesome.
Right?
Yeah, let's keep it going.
Keep going, come on. 5. Oh, okay.
So, again, I'm not responsible for the question that you may pull out of here. Okay, this is an oldie classic but a goodie. If you could invite anyone, dead or alive, to dinner, who would it be?
So Alex Ferguson.
I'm very on board with that. I'm very on board with this.
I've been lucky enough to have a lunch with him and dinner with him. Yeah, I'm a big Man United fan. So Sir Alex is like the man. I was born in 1986, the year he took over at Man United.
So obviously, completely had something to do with that. Like,
yeah,
good luck, Charles.
And he watches countdowns.
So how did you, if I can follow up question, how did you go about having lunch or dinner with Sir Alex, and what was that actually like?
Oh, it was incredible. I mean, it was through my job, I just get so many opportunities. I mean, you do a maths degree, you're not going to necessarily end up doing this, and I didn't intend to.
Yeah.
But I, 2011 or 12, I did Mastermind and chose Manchester United as my topic. And from that, I got invited to do some work at from MUTV.
Yes.
And made myself a publicly known Man United fan, and then actually hosted a charity event for Sir Alex for his mum's foundation in his mum's name. So I was interviewing him as part of this evening, and he very kindly invited me and my dad to sit on his table, and then invited us to lunch the next day in the directors.
Wow.
I'm
a Man United fan too. I'm so jealous.
I mean, it's just like lifelong dream come true. And he's.
And I imagine he was nice, because I feel like you wouldn't want to cross him, and obviously he comes across as quite a potentially scary figure in the managerial sense. But then when he's, I guess, not thinking like a manager, he also strikes me as someone who would be really nice.
On a social level, I think he's brilliant. I mean, they say never meet your heroes, but he's my favourite person. And he's like on top of, American Civil War, wine, Stormzy, his like breadth of knowledge is really broad.
I can see that.
And he's great.
Awesome. Okay.
You want to you're like, oh, we have to go back to maths now.
Can we just keep talking about Sir Alex?
Alienating people that aren't Manchester United fans.
All right. Should we roll again?
Yes, I'm on it. Here we go.
Okay.
Oxford.
The Oxford jar. You're doing a very good job of getting a good spread.
Yeah.
Ooh. What was your admissions interview like?
So I'm not sure how the process has changed now because I'm that old, but it was 2004 when I started Oxford. So I had to do a 3-hour paper, and you would at that time you were choosing between Oxford and Cambridge. Cambridge had the step paper, so you had to do specific. You have to do specific learning, and Oxford was a 3-hour paper, more to gauge your aptitude. So my understanding of how I read it is more. I think it's more inclusive in that I was at a grammar school, a state grammar school, and it was not testing how well you've been taught, because it was all just see how you think. And it was really hard. It was the hardest thing, and I barely got any answers out, but I just wrote down everything I was thinking and all my processes as I was going. So then after that, you think, well, let's just go home now. But you have to go through the interview processes. So I was interviewed at Oxford, at the Oriel, where I applied. I was interviewed at St John's, somewhere else I can't even remember. And it was a total mixed bag, because I mean, you get totally different lecturers, professors interviewing you. So I had, one who you might expect, like really old Oxford professor talking about rotating solids in your head. And then I had Zenizela Ossa, who was became my tutor in fluids and applied maths, which was my thing.
Glad to hear it.
Yeah, and you get to, it was hard, and they put you under pressure, but they just want to see how you think. They want to see if they can give you nuggets of information, and if you can take that on board and progress. And for me, I went to look at Cambridge before I applied for Oxford, and I just found, my personal experience was, they gave us a lecture on, don't know how many dimensional space. It was basically something more advanced than any master's or PhD I could have done for a 17-year-old. And I went to Oxford, and they showed you circles and triangles, and then they extended it on the knowledge that you would have already known. And that's what I liked about it. It was more of a teaching method. So I just went home thinking, well, that was interesting to go there for 3 days and stay over and have a bit of fun, and I'm never going to hear from them again. And then when you get a letter accepting you, everyone thinks they've made a mistake until you get there, and you go, oh, that's my name. They actually did want me.
It's so many things you said there were really nice for me to hear, because I do the admissions interviews now.
Okay.
So I do them at St Edmund Hall, Teddy Hall, like we were discussing before. And that is exactly what we're trying to do with the interviews, is like seeing how does this student think?
Yeah.
And as you say, give them nuggets of information, and we want them to pick up on that and then connect the dots themselves. You're not supposed to come up with the information yourself because you haven't been taught it yet.
Yeah.
But if I give you some information, we want to see you, put it together and then say something sensible.
Yeah.
That's
what I was hoping for, and I just, anyone going through that, don't be despondent if it's really, really hard, because that's the point. You're not supposed to get the answer. You're just supposed to be open to learning, be enthusiastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome.
Should we do it again?
Yes.
6.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Full house.
Uh-oh. What have you got in this one? I am holding you responsible for what you've put in these.
Well, you can judge me if it's not fun. If it's not a fun question, you can judge me. But again, they all did come from speed dating websites. They're all worse. If you could commit one crime without being caught, what would it be?
Wow. That's a hard one. Who has an answer for that?
I know. Yeah. Hi, nice to meet you. So, tell me about your criminal past.
Yeah, exactly. What crimes are fun? Without being caught, so you could just do it anonymously.
Yeah, let's suppose you
know what? My mind just went to. I know that my co-host on Countdown, Colin Murray, he would love to streak on a football pitch. Like, he's told me that.
Okay.
And now I can't think of anything else. It's not my ambition to streak at a football game. But maybe just, I guess you could, I don't like being naughty, but maybe an event you really wanted to go to, you didn't have tickets for, you could just sneak in.
Doesn't really harm anybody, does it?
No.
That's a good one. Yeah. So I was about to say potentially streaking wouldn't harm anyone, but I don't know. It depends who's doing the streaking, right?
No, I mean, no. It's not going to happen. I'll let Colin keep that one.
Yeah.
Just throw him under the bus, why not? Should I do another one?
Let's go.
Okay. Oxford again. I did enjoy Oxford, so I'm quite enjoying it. Trip down memory lane.
Yes, I was hoping you might. Ooh, what modules did you take during your degree? So sort of, I guess you hinted that you enjoyed the applied ones. Yeah. So maybe just talk a little bit about which ones you enjoyed, which ones you didn't enjoy might also be an interesting question.
The first 4 terms, I did 4-year undergrad masters. So the first 4 terms, which is a third of the course, you didn't have any options. So you have to do a mix of everything. So the stuff I remember not enjoying is linear algebra, just anything pure really, analysis, proving anything. I'm just not interested. If other people can do that, that's fine. The worst one was rings and groups. I had the most lovely tutor, Nick, and I didn't know what was going on at all. So I got rid of those as soon as possible. And I really like the applied side of things. So I enjoyed fluids. And I took, I think it was 3 different kinds of quantum courses. And one of them was in the computing department, which was, and each one was a completely different set of notation, completely different way of thinking about it and approaching it. And unless they were all called quantum, there wasn't actually anything linking the notation to each course. I really enjoyed that because it's more puzzly. And I did I can't even remember what the course was called now, but transformations and integration, but not from an analysis point.
Right, yeah.
It was I just like playing with numbers and doing the integrations and that kind of thing.
You've described basically what my degree was as well. That's why I was just nodding along yep. Because my least favourite was definitely first year, second year linear algebra groups. Yeah. And I now teach them.
Wow.
I actually now teach those courses.
You can get over even that.
You can get over it. So the thing for me was, the more advanced maths I was doing, the more I realised everything is linear algebra. It's always matrices. I bet even in quantum you come across...
Yes, but then you know what? I got to the quantum computing course, and all the notation looked like matrices. And I sat there, and I use this example when I'm saying you can get it eventually, because I sat there and I was just trying to make head or tail of these matrices. And it turns out those matrices, they weren't matrices. It meant something completely different to all the linear algebra that we'd done everywhere else. And everyone else was just smiling and nodding along and taking notes. And I was there. I'm sure it took 6 out of the 8 weeks before I went, that's what you're talking about. And it was like a light bulb got turned on. And suddenly I could read this stuff. And I felt like, friends at school who just didn't know what was going on from a much earlier stage, I could finally relate to what they were going through with it might as well have been hieroglyphics. And then you see it and it's like a magic eye puzzle, and it's just everything's shifted, and you just can read it.
Yeah.
And it was amazing.
With the theme of today obviously being national numeracy, sort of from that example you gave of not initially getting it,
Yeah.
did you have any like particular techniques or like advice or ways of trying to overcome that? Because I'm sure there might be people watching who perhaps not looking at quantum computing matrices, but
absolutely.
are just struggling with maths in general.
I think back to, I did further maths A-level, so I had lots of different teachers, and there was one particular teacher, I really disliked his teaching method, because he'd show you it on the board, and then he would stare at you while he'd just given you a question, and if you didn't get it within about 3 seconds, he'd show you the answer. And I really hated it, because the only way I understood anything, I barely understood anything during term time, because it's so quick. You just get through it, you just take the notes, you just get through it.
Yes.
And then I only understood things when it came to doing the exams or the revision, because you have to take things apart, you have to try things for yourself and work out where in your brain, which route works the way you think.
Yeah.
So the guy that didn't give you a chance to just stop and let you think for yourself and let you make the mistakes and see what's wrong and see why and see where it's right, I still think back to that and to think, why? That's really bad teaching. And I think the brilliant thing about, national numeracy is, what they say, their ethos is not about speed.
No,
just take your time, and it doesn't matter if you get things wrong. It's just not a race. And I think the great thing about maths, and I use the examples of going back to uni because that's prominent in my mind. But even at the level of our 4th year, me and my tutor mate Paul, both doing all the applied maths.
Yep.
And even in exactly the same topic, he would do drawings, and without drawings, he didn't know what was going on. And drawings meant nothing to me. I like the algebra, and I like to see it all written down like that. Yeah. And it's just, there's no right way of approaching it. They're both correct.
Yeah.
So whatever method works for you. Yeah. In terms of national numeracy, in terms of getting the answer out and understanding, getting, what you want from it. Don't worry about the method that you're supposed to use. Just do your one.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh,
awesome.
I'm singing from the same song sheet. Should we do the next one? This is on topic. There we go. We got some maths questions.
Ooh, what is one of your favourite maths facts? Or theorems or results? Just something that you think would be interesting to share. It doesn't have to be something new or particularly mind-blowing.
Well, not if you're going mind-blowing. Well, I mean, going back to something access for everyone, but in my interview for Countdown, I actually had to do the numbers puzzles with the music going while people stared at me.
It's so much worse with the music.
When it is, it's
the
like
pressure.
I have to acclimatise myself to it and play that over and over for the interview process. Yeah. But I just remember something that my beloved producer actually told me in the interview process. It was like giving you a nugget and see if you can work with it. And it's just really great for Countdown. So anyone that likes Countdown, I knew, if you add the digits of a number up, how to work out if it's divisible by 3. If that number's divisible by 3, then it is. But I didn't realise with 9s, you can keep adding the digits up of any number. And if you then add those successive digits up, if you get to one digit and it's 9, then the original number was divisible by 9. And if it's not, it's not. So in terms of Countdown, we're working really, really quickly to get this 3-digit number. You can just look at it and see if it's divisible by 9. And then that gives you a direct route to solving it. So yes. I just think it's fun, and it's something that when I go into schools and talk to kids and give them a countdown game that's hard that most adults wouldn't get, and they're just sitting there timesing numbers together, no method, and then they just get nothing by the end of the 30 seconds. I can give them that nugget of information, teach them that, and then within 20 minutes they can solve these problems. And they're just seeing them get a buzz out of it and seeing them make improvement over just a short period of time, I really like that. Yeah.
So one of my colleagues at Oxford was an Octo champ on Countdown.
Oh.
Like in the early 2000s, maybe like 20 years ago.
Oh, so before my time.
Yes, I think. And then one of my former students, Kai Laddyman.
Kai!
You know Kai, okay. All right, I didn't know you would know the name. Because he was like 12 or something.
Chelsea fan, yeah. Yes. He was on before my time, and then my first ever block was a Champion of Champions, where the good ones come back. And Kai came back.
Yeah.
And did he end up at Oriel?
No, he was at St John's.
St John's.
He did Master Computer Science. So I only taught him, very rarely taught him, because he mainly did computer science.
Yeah.
But no, we had a few lessons. But both of those, I just remember, I've spoken to both of them in this kind of setting, asking them about their experience on Countdown and things. They were super positive about it, but they said for the numbers thing, they had to like learn the 75 times table.
Yes.
Was like their sort of top tip.
Yes. Well, you have the base, instead of a base 10, I have base 25.
Right.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously to you. Obviously not to everybody else. But in context of Countdown, my brain is really, really trained just to do that particular role. So if you ask, people are out and about and they're like, what's 45 times? And I'm like, as well as everyone else, I'm thinking of my own method. But if you put a 50 there and a 5, then instantly I can work from base 50 to get the answer. So it's interesting how your brain gets programmed.
I think it's a really good example actually of how you're sort of trained. It's like you have the skill to be able to work with the numbers on Countdown.
Yeah.
And I think it's true for maths in general. It's a skill, and you train and you practice and you work and you get better at maths.
Yeah, it's just a muscle like any other. You have to practice.
So no, I think that's
And, croupiers are the best arithmeticians that I've seen because they're just all day, every day, they're just working out odds and they're just so quick and so good at what they do.
I never thought about that one.
I remember going to Vegas and the guys on the craps tables. Split second, they've worked everything out, and you just, okay, I trust you.
Yeah. Awesome.
Shall I roll?
Let's continue. 2 again.
Maths again.
Do you have any advice for people who want to improve at maths?
Yeah, the number one advice is just to believe that you can. I mean, even aside from me saying that, National Numeracy, they're very data-focused, evidence-led. So they're not just putting ideas out of their areas. They are, they're using actual data to hone what they do, basically. And the key indicator of if you're going to improve at your maths is if you believe you can. If you have, there's the growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. So if you think, I'm rubbish at maths, it's a maths brain thing, my mum was rubbish at maths, I've always been rubbish, Mr. Blogs at school told me, and you believe you can't do it, then you're not going to be able to do it.
Yeah.
But if you, especially people, if they're coming at it as an adult, they're more than likely, they have a reason to want to get better, improve their maths, rather than at school putting your hand up, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
To pass your exams. As an adult, you might want to help your kids, you might want to improve your career prospects, you might want to better manage your finances at home, whatever reason it is, you want to get better. And if you, have the mindset of, I just need to practice, I just need a different way of thinking about it, I just need to go and have a look and get some help, and I can do it, it's that believing that you can do it that will lead to improvement. And I think it's really important as well to notice that you do make improvement. So I've learned about myself that I was a perfectionist. I think all of my friends from the same background, we were all we've been trained to focus on the negative. So when you do something, you pick at those bits and you see it's not perfect, and you think, oh, well, you get disappointed. Whereas actually, it can be beneficial to think, what do I want to achieve before you try to do something? And when you do make progress, when you do get that small improvement, don't look at the bits that went wrong. Just see, yes, I did that bit really well, and it will encourage yourself to do more of it. So that was my top advice.
That is excellent advice. I can't even add to that. That's
you have to say that. I'll roll again. Oh, I got 2 again. Are you sure this isn't a loaded dice?
Well, in previous videos,
it's coming up now.
I've had guests claim that it was loaded to always be a 6.
Okay. Fair enough.
So the fact that you're getting all of these 2s
could be a different dice.
No, it's the same dice. It's the same dice.
All right. I'm not going to argue about having extra questions about maths.
Yes.
On National Numeracy Day. Here's the next one.
Oh, okay. Do you have any maths hacks or something similar that you can share with us? So you kind of already gave us a great one about the 9s. That was really nice.
I mean, I like the 11 one, which I remember Kirk Bevins told me about, and Kirk was my first ever Octo jump on Countdown, and first ever series champion. And it's a fun one to tell kids. So if you take, for example, a 2-digit number, like 23. So to times it by 11, you would just take the 2 to the left, the 3 to the right, and add the 2 and the 3 in the middle. So 253.
I did not know that.
No, it's a hack. You wouldn't need it. But it's quite nice because I don't like just gimmicky things. So people will say, well, why does the 3 work? And it's like, it just does. But with the 11, you can say, well, how would you times by 11 if you were doing long multiplication? You would times it by 10.
Yep.
So you would just move the 2 digits along and put a 0,
Yep.
and then you would just add the same one of them. So you can see exactly. I mean, and then you can extend it with if those digits add to more than 10, what happens? I just think it's a nice example when you're talking to kids and teaching them about numbers.
Definitely.
I like it.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Cool. Very basic. 5. Here we go. Speed dating.
Back on speed dating.
Speed dating. Here we go.
DIY or call an expert?
I'm the type of person that will try stuff and then break things and then get told off for not having called someone. So I remember specifically years ago, I bought a bird table with a big long pole.
Okay.
To put it in the garden, but you're supposed to like put it that far into the ground or whatever, and it was really hard ground. So I was like trying to bash it in, and then I just basically dented part of the pole that's supposed to have something slotted into it. So then I was like, right, okay. And I took that, and I took it, don't try this at home, to the hob, and was trying to like heat it up so I could like bend it back.
I mean, good science, but I don't think...
Yeah, I mean, if I can't even put a stick in the ground, I mean, I should just call someone, really. But yeah.
So scientifically accurate though. The heating up of the metal does make it more malleable.
That's what I was going for.
Was it an electric hob or a fire hob?
No, it was gas.
It was,
so,
okay.
Yeah, it was gas.
I don't know if that's more dangerous or...
Well, I don't think an electric one. I think you have to have the pounds on there for it to actually work.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't.
Okay, all right.
I'm basically really impatient and don't wait for anything. I'm just like, right, I've got it. I'm gonna do it now.
Yeah.
And that's
can relate to that.
So anyway, so we've got a second date, or not as a handy woman. 6. Here we go.
What is the most adventurous thing you have ever done?
I guess there's different ways of being adventurous, but I worked on a program called It's Not Rocket Science, and we did a few things where we were proving scientific theories. So I cycled across a tightrope about 6 or 7 stories high with the medic Kevin Fong, who's Dr. Kevin Fong, who's an ambulance medic, dangling underneath me as a counterweight, and it was about balance and centre of gravity, that kind of thing. So that was, and I don't like heights. And the typical TV thing, you get to the other side of the tightrope, and they're like, "Yeah, we just need to do it one more time."
So you actually had to do 2 takes.
I had to do it twice, and I also zip wired through fire for that program as well. It was quite fun.
This sounds like a fun program.
It was a fun program.
I need to watch. We should all go watch this program.
It was good.
So, did you have to learn how to do the cycling, or was it literally just because it was set up such that you almost like couldn't really fail in a way? Like,
that was the science. It was because his weight was balancing underneath us. You could just cycle across a tightrope.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like it.
I mean, you just have safety, health and safety people there saying it's fine, and I was like, oh great, okay.
Sure.
I'm gonna go. Why not?
Yeah, I think I've seen something similar. I think it was on YouTube actually, where again based on science, but way more dangerous, which is probably why it wasn't on your show. They had somebody stand a meter away from a loaded gun underwater and then fired the bullet, which it goes about that far out the end of the gun because of so much the fluid and the water. Just it basically acts like a solid and the bullet stops.
It's not what happens in James Bond.
I would just be. That to me is terrifying. Something like that, even though I know the science, it's fluids. It's exactly what I completely understand what is going to happen. But something like that, I'm not sure I could do. I think I'd be okay with the heights.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you don't like heights, that doesn't.
I didn't like heights. I just get a bit wanting to go back down to the ground, basically. Even like getting out of the cherry picker to get onto the bike was enough. Oof.
All right, that wasn't too bad.
No.
You've done okay in the fun jar so far.
4.
General part. What is your favourite band or musician?
I'm pretty rubbish with music actually, but
or song?
Well, I like Vampire Weekend.
Okay.
I like Vampire Weekend, but then when I was a teenager, I was more like Green Day, a bit of Blink-182, kind of American alternative rock. And now we like kind of duo, which is like a guitar duo that play.
Okay.
They do like remixes of guitar music, so they'll do like sort of the Greek mixed with like Mamma Mia or something. They're fun. Just like, Alexa, play me this.
Right, yeah.
But, yeah.
I'm a big Blink fan over here. I have a What's My Age Again lyric on my shoulder tattoo and a Blink logo on my arm, and going to see them in Berlin in September.
Oh, that's fun.
Which I'm very excited about.
My brother's got one of the symbols on his calf, actually. I think he got it just before they split up,
Right.
11 million years ago.
Yeah. Have you ever seen them live?
No. I've seen
Maybe
them for a
that's-
weekend, but not.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it'd be nice, that'd be.
So when as I said, it's one you could sneak into because
There we
all
go.
their recent
not
tour, the
naked,
tickets
but-
are we're very on brand for What's My Age Again, Blink-182 though.
Yeah.
I actually video I'm currently making, which I wasn't planning to tell everyone about. Apparently, I am now. Have you seen the video for What's My Age Again? The Blink-182
Years
song.
ago. Is it with the nurse?
Yes, and they run around LA naked,
Okay.
basically. And it has the nurse, yes. So I wasn't naked, I wore boxers, but I recreated that around the sites of Oxford.
I did once, made netball captain in my 4th year, and we had to do a bikini-clad 3-legged race through Oxford.
Solid.
From
Like through Cornmarket Street, like the busy shopping
I think it was
street.
from like the Cowley Road
Right.
through to Oriel, and then we went to Filth afterwards, which was a club.
Still bikini clad and 3-legged, or?
Yeah.
That sounds like the kind of thing a student would do.
Yeah. Well, you can also get trousered. Do people still get trousered?
I don't think so.
No. If you're playing pool and you get beaten without
Without sinking a ball.
then you have to run around the quad with no trousers on.
Yes, I've heard we call it a naked lap.
Oh, there we go.
So rather than, I think it's maybe evolved that now you are literally supposed to do it naked.
We'll let the boy. I mean, there was always different rules for the ladies and the gentlemen.
I'm sure.
Shall I do another one?
Yes.
One. Back to
All
Oxford.
right. Ooh. Can you tell me something mathematical about the city of Oxford?
Something mathematical about the city of Oxford.
Any particular mathematical
Well, you
sites?
still get.
or-
I think you still get. So I've got a maths degree, and if I had stopped at the bachelor, you get a Bachelor of Arts at Oxford.
You do.
Because it goes
You
back
do.
to the time when it was philosophy.
Yes.
And that's quite individual to Oxford, as far as I'm aware.
I
most
think
places
it
you
is,
get
yeah.
BSc, but you get a BA.
Yep.
Is that enough? Does that count?
No, I think that's a great little
There you go.
fun mathematical
Pull that
fact
out.
about Oxford. Yes, yeah, definitely. I think my favourite mathematical fact about Oxford is, this is possibly why you didn't know this one, the paving outside of the new Maths Institute.
Penrose. Is it Penrose?
tiling.
Yes.
That's
I
just
get
like
the
so cool.
newsletter.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah.
It's very, very cool.
Yeah, very cool. Penrose tiles. So if you don't know what Penrose tiles are, look them up because it's really interesting.
Yes. It's too hard to describe, sorry. Maybe I'll add an image of Penrose tiling for you all so you can see.
It's very
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. It's an aperiodic tiling, I think. I think that's what it is. Even I'm struggling to remember exactly what it is, but it's a cool geometry thing, and they paved it outside of the Maths
Roger Penrose.
Institute. Yes.
And he's still at Oxford.
He is
I went
indeed,
to a lecture
yes.
that he gave a couple of years ago. He was a peer of Stephen Hawking.
Yes,
And he was told at school that he was no good at maths.
Really?
And sent down, and by some teacher that didn't realise he was going on to work with Stephen Hawking and be one of the leading mathematicians. Anyway.
Yeah, there you go.
We digress.
And then he won a Nobel Prize for his work on black
Not
holes,
bad.
which is, from being told you can't do maths to winning a Nobel Prize.
You'd want to go back to see that teacher.
I know.
I think you called this one wrong, mate.
All right. 3.
Maths. We're running low on the maths
We
questions.
are.
We're getting through them.
Ooh. Can you remember when you fell in love with maths?
See, I wouldn't say I fell in love with maths, and I think people might be surprised to hear me say that, but for me there are two different types of mathematician. There's the applied and the pure.
Yep.
And the pure mathematicians for me can talk about the beauty of an equation and just marvel at a circle. And I just like doing puzzles, and I like using my brain. And I wouldn't say I fell in love with maths. I just really enjoy the challenge, and I know, at school I like PE, I like graphics, I like art, I like all these different subjects. I like physics as well, but I just decided to take maths because it didn't have any labs. There was no reading list, and I really liked the puzzle. So I guess it's probably the pragmatic side of my brain that led me to doing it, and that can't make, a love song out of it. But I could sit all day and do, sums and work things out, even though I say that.
It's interesting you say about the applied stuff, because I agree with you that often the pure or the abstract maths is described as like being beautiful. But for me, if I'm trying to solve an actual real world problem and I get an answer out that like fits with what I thought my intuition, if you're faced with a problem, you're like, okay, my intuition says we should do this.
Yeah.
And then you do the maths and then I get that to come out.
Yeah.
Like for me, I just,
like
I don't know.
Euphoria.
I'm so, it is.
It's euphoria, and it's like a buzz and it's a satisfaction.
Yeah. I would call that beauty, but maybe that's just my interpretation.
It's semantics, isn't it?
Yeah, okay. Fair enough.
We'll agree to differ on that one. There we go.
Maths again, we are actually going to run out. Do you have a favourite number?
Well, I like 9 and 11 because they've got the tricks associated with them.
Yeah.
And that's about that as far as that goes, really. Do you have a favourite number?
My favourite number would be 3 divided by 2 to the power of 9/4.
And what does that?
It appeared in the main result of my PhD thesis as like a scaling coefficient. After doing several integrals and getting like a result I studied river outflows, there was this just weird number at the beginning involving fractional powers of 2 and 3. And I was just like, that's my favourite number now.
Oh, that's nice. It's nice when something comes out and it's... See, I'm at school, my teachers always say I was the only one that used fractions all the time. I just don't use decimals because fractions are so much cleaner, so much... You can cancel with them, you can see what you're doing. You don't need a number answer. If you end up with loads of decimal points, you can't then use that to solve a problem. And apparently, she said I was the only one that she was teaching that just like that. So that's a good answer. Yeah.
And then again, you can't use calculators at university as well.
Well, people would ask me, like, can you use a calculator? And you're like, well, it would be as much useful as using a calculator in French.
Yes.
Because
very true. Yeah.
People just thought you could just go to Oxford and you just times bigger and bigger numbers together.
Yeah.
But actually, I remember being in the bar and I showed someone in my year like my worksheet and I was like, guess what subject I study? And they couldn't work it out because it's all words and it's I think it's probably probability or something like that. But they didn't recognise it as maths because it's not what you think of when you hear the word maths. It's not just numbers. And I remember being in a lecture, I might have been in my first year, and my friend Luke, he was like, what's that symbol on the board there? That it looks like a backwards epsilon. Like, Luke, that's a 3.
Wow. I knew where you were going with that one.
Yeah. And that was a genuine question because you use numbers so little.
Yes.
And he's like, what's that funny symbol?
And you end up learning the Greek alphabet, basically,
as
well,
absolutely.
without needing to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shall I move on?
Yes.
You're going to cut me off? 4, general.
There we go.
Thank you.
I know what the answer's going to be. What is your favourite sports team? Let's say after Manchester United.
Oh, there is no one after Manchester United.
In a different sport?
One of the best games of sport I've ever watched was, I think it was New Zealand versus, I think, Australia, the final of netball in the Commonwealth Games. I love the Commonwealth Games because it's got the sports that I used to play, like netball and squash. And that game was just like, I'm not sure how many extra periods it went into because they were just neck and neck and just absolutely brilliant. Yeah. So I recommend watching netball to anyone who's never watched netball. But there's only one team. There's only Manchester United. That's it.
Yeah, I agree.
My dad taught me that proper.
Maths again.
Maths. Well, how many is it?
There's literally 2 left.
Oh my gosh.
Can you describe a recent time you used maths in your everyday life?
I guess my everyday life versus my work life because I've still got a foot in. So at home we actually have a Ukrainian family living with us. So we have a little 8-year-old boy, and he didn't speak English when he got to us in September. And he's now at school. He's picking it up very slowly, but he comes back with his worksheets, and he doesn't know. He'd never done long division. So I've been trying to, with my really broken Russian, trying to help him learn long division So you have to go back and you have to really assess what you're doing and why and what it means, and got these little beads out to try and, you know, break it down to the fundamental level. So, because I don't know, he can't tell us and he doesn't know what method they're using at school. So I'm trying to just give him the basic, you know, the understanding of what it means, and if you had a cake or if you had this many beads. And in my work life, I'm a brand ambassador for a brilliant company called Optimize, who uses route optimization for green outcomes for transport fleets and delivery systems, things like that. So they use algorithms, and they're also now looking at how they can incorporate or use quantum computers to better optimize routes. And I just think back to, you know, I left uni 15 years ago now, and at that time I remember they were timesing 2-digit numbers together with quantum computers, and they just teleported, you know, a photon across a river. And now they're at the stage where they can actually use it in the real world. And it's still in, you know, he's having the experts still having to kind of outsource it to the quantum guys. Yeah. But they're looking at how it's actually going to be useful. I just think that's amazing. Yeah. It's just like how quickly it's come around. And I remember, you know, I was being lectured in the room next to David Deutsch's office, who I think was, you know, one of the, I wouldn't say fathers of quantum, but quantum computing. But you know, in the 80s, he started working on this stuff, and just seeing how it shifts so quickly, it's quite exciting.
Oh no, yeah,
really
yeah.
So
quantum computing. As you were mentioning before, I also took the module in quantum computing, but I mean I don't know how relevant that is to what they're doing now. No, probably not. But,
no, exactly.
But yeah, like it's got the potential to be like just change how we do everything.
Well, I know they haven't, you know, got it up and running, because if they do, like, you know, like the internet's gone.
I was about to say, the internet just breaks.
The internet, like the world is like over as we knew it.
Yeah.
So I find it fascinating, and just looking at the Wikipedia pages for things like Monte Carlo method for algorithms is just trying to decipher, you know, if it's not your specialty, even if it was my specialty that amount of time ago, I wouldn't know what it was. But trying to work out what this stuff means. I mean, you can see how maths can give you anxiety, and it can, you know, seem so far from something you can understand, but you just have to understand that there's so few people in the world that know these like little bits, and it doesn't matter, you can still be numerate and confident and, you know, a maths geek, a maths fan without knowing everything. So definitely. I tell myself that every time I get to a Wikipedia page, and I'm like, I recognise those symbols, but I don't know what this means.
Yeah. Awesome. Right. Should we do a final one?
Go on then.
But I feel like, can we just take one from the fun part?
Go. Yeah, it's just sitting there. I've just got maths.
We've had a few, but
last one. Let's make it a fun one.
Honesty or sparing someone's feelings?
I think you can do both if it's important. This is quite a deep question.
It
This
is.
isn't like fun. This is like on the psychological couch. I'm proud to admit that I'm obsessed with a program called Married at First Sight.
My friends watch this.
It should be a guilty pleasure, but and up until last year, I would have been horrified that I would say this. But you just watch other people and how they like deal with things, and it's just fascinating from a psychological point of view. I think you can do both. I think if it's important, then you know, I like to be that friend that you can rely on for an honest opinion. Yeah. And then you know that when I say something and it's good and you don't want to believe about yourself, then you know it's true, because you know I'm always straight. Yeah. But you wouldn't be harsh for the sake of it. Yeah, no, I think you've nailed it. It's like, if it's someone who's a close friend, you probably want to be honest, because they're asking you for an honest opinion. Yeah. If it's a complete stranger, you're not going to be or if it's like, do you like my hair? It's not going to change the world. If you say, you don't just go, no, you look like Boris Johnson. Yeah. Yeah, it's lovely.
Exactly. Yeah. Awesome. Well, it's been a real pleasure.
No, I've really enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Thank you for taking part. Thank you for telling us more about National Numeracy. Yeah. And National Numeracy Day, which, remember, 17th of May, everybody.
17th of May. Anyone that's not overly confident with numbers, with numeracy, with any specific area of everyday maths, you can go online. You can do the challenge, which assesses where you are in particular areas, so you can see where your strengths are, and you can ignore that, and you can see where your weaknesses are, and focus on that to make improvement.
Yeah, awesome. So go do that. And also, if you've enjoyed this video, it would be great if you also subscribe to my channel as well. So again, thank you so much. Rachel, thank you everyone for watching,
Thank
and
you.
I'll see you all soon.